We have Brett Labit on. Brett, how's it going, man?
Really good. Good to see you again.
Likewise, you too. So are you in where are you right now? In your apartment or
Yeah, yep. I'm here in my place in Scottsdale. I live between Scottsdale and Sedona,
okay.
back and forth.
Gotcha. What do you like more, Scottsdale or Sedona?
You know, uh, they're two definite different vibes. Scottsdale is where I prefer to be most of the time, but Sedona is pretty hard to beat for a couple days away. So yeah, Scottsdale is a nice place to live.
So you're working on a few things right now, right? You have your in the tribe.io company, which I'd like to get into more in a little bit. And then you have your art gallery as well, where you're doing some pretty innovative stuff. So, what I think it'd be interesting, at least for listeners, is, let's go into a little bit what you're doing, but you also seem to have a knack of building things where I guess you could say it's already in the culture, like there's some cultural understanding, but then you do it a little bit differently. So I think it'd be interesting to learn some maybe key principles or, you know, ways that you do things that people can learn from as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so let's start. Well, let's start with the art gallery because that's a little bit more established. How many years have you been doing that now for?
Well, the art galleries came about as a consulting project for a friend of mine
Okay.
a few years back. And in the process of that, decided to partner with her and one other partner. And so today we have three galleries, two in Scottsdale, one in Sedona. So
Oh,
yeah, it's been a couple years.
now what was the consulting contract? What kind of consulting were you doing?
Well, she was an artist that owned a gallery in Sedona, and in the gallery world, you either need to be owner operator and you're going to be there all the time to make it work, or you got to kind of go the corporate route. Well, as an artist that was retired, she retired young. She sold a tech company at 33 years old and retired. And so she didn't really need to work. She was just following her passion in art. So the gallery needed, systems and digital assets and omni-channel presence and things that would be more appropriate to compete in today's world, if that makes any sense. But so yeah, I came in to help with all of that and got the gallery. A team effort, of course. It wasn't just me, but we got the gallery profitable and moving forward, and then decided to expand, leaving that traditional mom and pop or owner operator feel to a more corporate feel by expanding.
No, did you have any background in the art industry before doing this?
I didn't know anything about art. I wasn't even, I can honestly say I didn't even really go into art galleries and look. I mean, I would just browsing for fun here and there, but I wasn't a collector.
Okay.
But through the consulting and through the work with the Sedona Gallery, I just fell in love with many of the artists. I like the creativity. I'm an innovator and creator, so being around the art tapped into my creative side. And in addition to that, you had mentioned my project within the tribe. The gallery and the art world, it's a community, it's a tribe. And so I felt a lot of the same elements there that resonate deeply with me already. And so it was a natural fit. I don't like doing things outside of my, sweet spot of focus, but because it's very tribal, in my opinion, it was a good addition to my portfolio. So.
So let's break that down a little. What are some of the elements of tribe that you found translated into this art gallery business?
Well, the gallery business is not an easy business, as I said. You've got typically a gallery is going to have a consignment situation with the artist where both are cutting revenues in half from the get go, and then the artist has got to make it on a 50% split. The gallery's got to make it on a 50% split, and of course, if you're really tribal, you want the client to win, so it's win win win. You don't want a client to pay too much for a piece and not have equity in it. At least I don't. And you want the artist to get what they deserve, and you want the gallery to make it and be profitable. So it requires collaboration, and it requires a mindset of win-win-win. And I liked that, and I liked that challenge in the gallery world. Plus, I met a lot of people, especially in Sedona. You know, you have 4.5 million tourists per year. So I was meeting people all over the world, just being associated with the gallery. And I met some great people. And so my network kept expanding, my tribe kept expanding. And then one commonality that you all have, you know, is that you love art. And so we always have something great to talk about, and something to share about. And so, yeah, there's probably more, but those are some of the basics.
Now, what kind of processes or systems did you put into place that turned this one, this first gallery from losing money in what I believe is a declining industry into one that was making money?
Well, one of the first things we did is there was an exorbitant amount of advertising cost in the gallery that just wasn't necessary. You know, one of the things that I think business owners miss sometimes, this gallery was spending a significant amount of money on advertising. It was, you know, for a small business, $7,500 a month. And it's in a prime location. Probably, we believe it is the single best retail location in Sedona. So chances are anyone in Sedona is going to go there anyway. So running $7,500 a month of local advertising costs to get people to the gallery was you're already paying for, you know, prime real estate.
Right.
That is the advertising, to have the prime real estate. So one of the keys to profitability there was just cutting the expenses.
Okay.
And then the second big thing that we did, Eric, is we, as every company should do, as every individual should do, is we took a closer look and deeper dive at who our real customer was. And we found, you know, that our average sale price was under $300, that we had more like 80% gift shop type buyer than art collector. 80% of the people that came through were tourists. And so you have different things like shipping to consider, and the kind of inventory we carried. So one of the things we did is we switched out a lot of the inventory to be more appropriate for our real consumer in that space.
Got it. And did you find that, well, first, were you surprised by the results when you went to look at who your customer was?
Yeah, I like you, I love the data.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I looked at the data, it was a bit surprising. You know, I have to say that we have several jewelry lines in the gallery,
Yeah.
and earrings are the top selling, you know, item. And so if I mean, art gallery and earring sales, who would ever really think that?
Right.
And earrings do something else. They keep ladies in there, because ladies don't just go to a pair of earrings and say, that's what I want. They look and they try on and they spend more time. And while they're doing that, their husbands are browsing and they might find an art piece. And so, yeah, I was quite surprised by what I had found. I had suspicions, but diving into the data, you know, confirmed the suspicions once I got there.
Gotcha. And then how did you guys change the business once you saw the data?
Well, once we saw the data, like I said, we moved, we changed the inventory out. One of the things I learned right away is, you know, people ask me, well, how do you decide which artists you work with? And I think I told you this when we were visiting one time. How do I decide what artists we're going to have? We have to like them. They, you know, we want to work with good people that are pleasant to work with, and you know, where not one of us feels so special and entitled. So just getting the right vibe and the right energy in the place, with people that were grateful to be there, and for a gallery that was grateful for the artist, and it's a culture through and through. So we just dove in to create a happiness culture like I do in every company I create.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working. So, we had a record year during COVID. We hit our highest months ever. So
Oh, wow. Wow. Have you read the book Delivering Happiness? Speaking of happiness cultures.
yeah, with Tony Hsieh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great book.
I love that book. Yeah. So now so what was the transition of having this consulting client to you pretty much, taking over the business?
Well, with most of my clients in the past when I was consulting, I don't do a lot of it now. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. But they have to be people that I'm passionate about. I don't want a client just for the sake of a retainer check.
Right.
So in this case, my, the gal that brought me on, she's a dear friend, and so I went to her probably a year in, and she had told me, she had made the comment one time. She said, Brett, I really need to be paying you 4 times what I'm paying you, but the gallery doesn't support that. And we agreed on that. It was, not a surprise. Um, and I was putting in a lot of time that really couldn't be monetized that way. And so I just went to her and had a heart to heart and said, hey, the reality is I can't keep putting in this kind of time. You can't really pay me what my time would be billed at, and nor should you in a small gallery like that, right? So the options are shut it down, um, sell it, or I take it over. And so anyway, through many discussions, we just decided that I would acquire a big percentage of it, and then ultimately, it felt really good for her to stay on board in a smaller percentage, and so we did that.
Okay. Got it. Now you've been doing a thing. So you have what now? 3 galleries.
Yeah, we just opened the third one in Scottsdale.
Congratulations. And where in Scottsdale is that for people listening?
Yeah, it's 7034 East Main Street. It's a
Okay.
fun little spot, beautiful metallic epoxy floors, glossy floor showroom, beautiful art. All the artists there are exclusive in Scottsdale. They'll only show with us. So it's a fun little spot.
Now you're doing something kind of interesting, right? Where now is this also in a retail center?
It's in, what's considered like gallery rows. So there are 20 galleries on the street. So yeah, it's commercial strip,
Mm-hmm.
Main Street from Goldwater to Scottsdale Road, and it's all pretty much all galleries and restaurants. And
Okay.
so we're right there. My neighbors are galleries, and so it's interesting because people ask me why would you put a gallery where there are other galleries?
Right.
And I said because that's where people buying art go. They go
Well,
where they're going to find galleries.
it's also the question like, why would you put a gallery in a shopping mall?
Right. Yeah, that one I got a lot of uh, pushback on, and as we speak right now, I'm working with a client that happened to walk by our gallery that is shipping 20 plus pieces to Whistler, British Columbia. So that's why, because the buyers are there. I go where the buyers are with any retail that I ever do. So um, yeah, it's been fun.
Talk to us a little bit about the mall strategy.
Well, the mall strategy in normal conditions, just any old mall, I probably wouldn't have done it. But this is the Scottsdale Fashion Square. It pre-COVID, it was like in the top 5 performing malls in the United States. And it's a beautiful mall. They do over $1 billion in sales every year. It's a big mall with beautiful high-end luxury stores. in the luxury wing, and we're in the luxury wing. We share with Cartier, we're with Bulgari, we're with Neiman Marcus, so their clientele is my clientele. So we position the gallery to be in the area where our clientele would be already present, shopping, and looking for luxury items. So it was a perfect pairing. Um, Pre-COVID anyway. COVID has presented its own challenges, and we've had to, not rely on people just walking in, but in a normal world, we're in a prime spot.
Well, I would say in a normalized world too. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're normalizing earnings over 10 years, COVID's
yeah,
just going to be a
exactly.
blip on that. What's what would you say is what you do differently? Because I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think in general, a lot of art galleries are struggling. A lot of things are going online. That industry is somewhat in decline, but you guys keep growing. What do you do differently?
Well, I'm going to say something, and it's going to seem so simple and so basic, but I'm adamant about people being treated, like royalty. Not I guess not overboard, but everyone's important. So whether kids come in, teenagers come in with their hat on backwards, and they're touching a $10,000 piece, I don't jump on them, and my staff's probably more worried about it than I am,
Yeah.
but I've trained the staff, and we continue to foster this culture of warm and welcoming and accepting no matter who it is. And there's no expectation that anyone buys. We don't put that pressure on our guests. What we do is we let our guests lead us, and we try to read, are they there to browse? Do they have specific questions? Are they most excited about who an artist is, or the colors of a piece, or the medium, or how it's made, right? So the staff is all trained to just let the guest lead and provide a happiness experience. Because of that, we generate a lot of word of mouth fast. And in today's world, I believe that you've got to generate a lot of word of mouth fast, and you've got to evolve to generate a lot of digital word of mouth fast. So we strive to, win in both of those areas.
What do you do for digital?
Well, of course, all the normal channels, um, but in addition to, social media, making sure that you're linked into a point of sale system, what's called omni-channel, where you can have real-time inventory sync across all those channels so that you can eliminate errors. If you're not real-time synced with your inventory, you may have someone buy something online that has already been purchased physically in a store, and now you've got a negative situation possibly. And so getting all those digital connections or integrations made so that you can truly sell omni-channel, and then optimizing key pages, not every product, but key categories. One of the things that we've learned is we have certain artists that are very popular, and people search for them. For example, Shane Farrow does blown glass birds out of North Carolina.
How do you spell his name?
Shane Farrow, Fero.
Okay.
So Shane does this, has this amazing technique to do these blown glass birds. And because we've put our birds on eBay, his birds, people weren't searching for us. They might not have even been searching for birds, but they search Shane Farrow, and then we come up, and we've sold several of those on eBay.
Hmm.
So, and the clients that I've met from that, I met Lola Hagedon she's the owner. Her and her husband own the Coeur d'Alene Resort up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. In fact, they own most of Coeur d'Alene, and off of eBay, off of a Shane Farrow bird. So talk about a few degrees of separation and what's possible. We target things like that.
So you guys sell on eBay.
Yeah.
And what has you decide you want to sell something on eBay versus in the store?
Customer base. There are a heck of a lot more people on eBay than walking into our galleries. Like I said, I go wherever the clients are, right?
Right.
And
Well, I guess what I'm asking is then why have anything in the gallery? Why not put it all on eBay?
well, not all of it is the type of buyer on eBay isn't always going to buy, a $25,000 stainless steel sculpture or whatever the case may be. But there are certain collectible type things or popular items that do well on eBay, and then you've got to manage that. So it's all trial and error. I had no idea that the birds would be popular on eBay, but it just happened to be, a lucky find.
I mean, how did you discover that they would be good on eBay?
Just listed them, and then watching the analytics and saw the popularity. So then started investing more energy in where I saw the analytics, and all of a sudden it started producing sales.
So do you do like testing? Is that what you do to kind of figure out what would be good on eBay, or like what does
Yeah,
that process look like?
yeah, I think so. You put an item on, and then you watch what kind of views it's getting and how many people are watching it. And some items are more popular than others, and then you focus your energy on the popular items. Like a lot of business, focus your energy where you got the least resistance, biggest profit, and faster, velocity. So
Mhm.
um, once you sort those things out, you realize you're not going to expend a lot of energy listing everything. You list the things that you already know will sell.
Right.
There's
Interesting.
only so much time in a day, right? And
Right.
so much admin that you can afford to pay in a small business. And so to try and do everything everywhere is not a good idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's interesting too, where I feel, talking to you, getting to know you, you're such a down to earth guy. And so much of the art world is there's a pretentiousness to, I think, a lot of the art world, kind of like wine, or like like
Yeah,
wine people, and it's just like, dear God,
right.
how do
I
you
was
do you find it's like a different client base, or do you think there's overlap, like the people that are going into more of those like stuffy situations? Like I've been in your art gallery. It is the last thing from stuffy. It's a very cool experience. But is that for that you're attracting people like me, and that maybe you're not attracting people that are more of the like the high art people, or are they coming in too and you're just getting an extra client base? Like what do you see around that?
Well, it's a great question. One of the most common things we hear is, "Man, I really love your gallery. It feels so good here." You know, it's so pleasant. I never feel any pressure. People love the climate change from traditional gallery to our galleries. And so, we don't lose the big clients over that. I mean, if you get someone who's really eccentric, they may not feel like they want something to match their personality,
Sure.
but they're a minority in our customer base. We
Hmm.
actually get, I'm working with a buyer right now. She'll spend 100 grand just buying these pieces and shipping them up to Whistler, and obviously wealthy. And we just, I'm in my jeans just like I am today. I'm in my jeans and a long sleeve shirt, untucked, and I'm treating her like I would a dear friend.
Yeah, why do you
And
think it is that so many go ahead, sorry.
no, it's I'm pretty much done, but that's it. I just, it's not easy to teach this to all of our staff, but I'm working on it. But I treat everybody like they're a friend. So that moment that it doesn't matter if it's a 10, I've spent time with 10-year-olds that come in, and if that's who I'm with at that moment, that's who I'm with. And I dedicate that moment to be there at their level, having conversation that matters to them, not trying to brush them off to get to the next person.
Well, and that
And
10-year-old in 15 years from now could give you 10 referrals and spend 100 grand themselves,
or bring their parents back,
or that
right?
too, right?
Right. And so Yeah, so that's it, Eric. It's just my philosophy overall is that's the way I like people to feel and be treated anyway. So just applying that in the gallery, is favorable.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the extremely eccentric people in the art world, which may have the loudest voices, might be a minority, but it seems that most art galleries are actually centered around appeasing those kinds of people.
They're whale hunters. So they're looking for this gigantic sale, which there, by the way, there's no criticism in it. It just is a different strategy. My strategy is to build a tribe of artists, clients, guests, galleries. Anyone really can be included in our strategy, including other galleries. But I like to bring people together and trust that they're intelligent enough to make good decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
But I want to grow something much more larger and long lasting and sustainable than hoping I have one person on my staff that's a whale killer that can get that one client and make our month or our year. I like betting on many different opportunities versus getting that one sale. So every once in a while, that big sale comes along, but I'm happy to make $300 every transaction. It's different in Scottsdale. Our price point in Scottsdale, we actually sell closer to probably, an $800 average. And, but I'm happy to make those sales. I just want to make them all day, every day versus, the problem with the whale, the giant, is just as big as that opportunity is and how great it is when it happens. It's also equally damaging when it doesn't. And I'd rather be more stable than that.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm someone who, doesn't come from the art world, really not that into art in general. But even though I didn't get anything, I had such a good time in your gallery to the point where if I lived in Scottsdale, I'd be coming in probably once every month or so and eventually would guaranteed I would get something eventually. But I remember being there and I felt like an interest in what you were offering, right? And like it was my first time in there and I had to restrain myself from spending $1,000. But there was a part of me that wanted to. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. This is my first time here. I know nothing about art. And I'm already like thinking of spending, more money than I should, at least, knowing nothing about art, right? But
Yeah.
it was very interesting to actually experience that. And it wasn't, and I don't say this as an insult, but it wasn't like you were doing a lot of really smart things in customer service. You just weren't being stupid.
Right.
That was a big part of it. Like
it's not that hard.
and I'll share with you a story. Besides the fact that I've probably now spent more time in your art gallery in those like 2 days than all the other art galleries I've ever been to combined. That's like how much I don't like art galleries typically. I was in a gallery maybe a month prior. I'm not gonna say where because then there's only one or two galleries in this town. But I walk in, right? And there's some pretty interesting, cool stuff there. And there are some, I don't even know what they were. They were like old advertisements, but they were done as like oil paintings or something like that. I don't, and they were old, like from the 50s or the 40s. And these things were going from anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 a piece.
Right.
And, so I wasn't obviously in the market to buy those, but the guy working there didn't even acknowledge that I was in his gallery. Didn't say hello.
Yeah.
Didn't say, hi, can I help you? Didn't say welcome. Just like sort of this desk that he was sitting on. And it was cold and awkward and weird.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, this guy's an idiot. Like, I could be a billionaire worth hundreds of millions or whatever, and he's not even coming to say hi to me. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know who my friends are.
That's common, unfortunately.
That's my typical experience in an art gallery. That's why I hate him so much. So what is the deal with the sort of not even giving a shit?
but I'm seeing it in almost every business. And
Are you okay?
yeah, and you know what, Eric? I tell my team all the time when they go, "How are you so confident?" Why? I mean, it's COVID, it's no mistake about it. It has had an impact on us for sure. We have to work a lot harder, do things differently. But one thing I'll say, when someone challenges my, like, what, you're opening another gallery during COVID? Oh, we opened 2 galleries during COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. And people are like, how are you so bold about that? And I said, it's real simple. I know what we'll do that no one else is willing to do. I think I told you that when we met.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it all because I know I'll love our people more than anybody, because of what I experience. So it's funny that you bring up that story, because when Polisa bought the first gallery in Sedona, my friend that, I ended up coming in, she hired me.
Yeah.
Um, when she bought that gallery, she used to go into that gallery, just like you said, and she would just be dressed in her everyday clothing, and and they would just turn their nose up at her. And she literally went back and paid cash for the gallery. So you never know who's coming in. Not that it even matters. Like I said, I mean, a construction worker can come in off the street for a glass of water. We don't treat them any different. And I really mean this. I don't treat them any different than a buyer coming in to drop 100 grand. They both get treated with respect and kindness. And now, don't get me wrong. If someone's, being a jackass, I don't have any problem being accurate and asking them, to leave,
Yeah.
because that's not warranted either, right? We're not there to be walked on. We're there to show mutual respect and honor people and honor the reasons that we're all there. We all just want a better life in some way. So I think when you make that the guiding, value or principle, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Interesting. So what's next for the gallery? What are you currently working on?
Well, as bold and brave as I might be at times, and I'm letting these stabilize before we go for number 4.
Okay.
But there are plans for number 4, and then I have a vision for number 5. Number 4 will be similar to what we're doing.
In Arizona?
Yeah, number 4 will be in Arizona. I'm not sure where number 5 will be. I think it will be in Scottsdale, but
Okay.
number 5 is a plan where we will have art gallery on the bottom floor, fine dining and full bar on the second floor, exclusive members only gallery on the third floor, and then rooftop venue on the fourth floor for events and things like that. So we'll be moving more into a clubhouse social environment with art, food, wine, cocktails, and a membership. And as I start to meld the idea of in the tribe into physical locations,
And the membership would be to get to the members only section or to get in the gallery itself?
to get to the members only section in the third floor. So the public could do first floor gallery and the restaurant and bar area. But to go up past that, it'll be members only.
And is it going to be more of like just a club where you can kind of go and hang out with other members? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. Giving, of course, being inclusive to allow, a beautiful place for the public, and then also providing that very important exclusivity that membership brings. People, I've learned that people like to belong to exclusive clubs.
Have you ever been to an art club before?
I haven't.
So I'd recommend, God, I don't remember what it's called, but there's a bunch of them in major cities. I mean, I went to a lunch at an art club last year in New York City. I won't say who invited me, but he runs I'll say he runs a pretty famous big company, and he's not an artist himself, but he hires artists at his company, and he also very much appreciates art and artists. So he has a membership there, and he'll bring artists there. He'll meet other artists there. He's hired from there. And it's a
Wow.
very cool social club.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you have an interest in art, you can connect with other people who also have an interest in art and belong to this sort of club. And you have dinner together or lunch together, and there's a dress code, and it's really nice.
Oh,
Um,
I love that. I love that idea.
well, it goes back to not really. It's starting to come back in my generation, but not my parents. But I guess it would have been my grandparents and great grandparents' generation, where you had the old school athletic clubs, right? So the Chicago Athletic Club,
Yeah.
the Los Angeles Athletic Club, which full disclosure, I'm a shareholder there. Um,
Which I've been to before and love.
you've been a Los Angeles Athletic Club?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your business. And
Yeah. You bet.
and there's the New York Athletic Club, but there are these old school social clubs which are kind of making a comeback. And
Yeah.
if you can have a mutual interest, so I think it's brilliant what you're doing, but it might be cool for you to check out one of the art clubs.
Yeah. No, great idea. Yeah. I've always loved the idea of clubs. People can choose to be a part of them or not.
Yeah.
But for the ones that do, membership has its privileges, and you end up with a peer group that you like hanging out with most of the time. Of course, there's always, people that you probably don't, but yeah, that's where we're headed. So I believe the gallery model needs to be innovated.
Okay.
I don't know that it will survive in general another 10-20 years.
Yeah.
I think this year we saw a big change. I had my point of sale system kind of, we started experiencing some problems. So we started researching point of sale systems, and we're researching the big point of sale systems, the most popular five. And in that research, I heard from many of them that online sales were up 400% this year. And so because of that, and once people get used to fast, easy, and convenient, they, humans don't like to take longer to do something that they now found a way to do faster and easier.
Right.
So we migrate towards faster, easier, and convenient. And everything in technology today is conditioning people for fast, easy, and convenient.
Yeah. So what do you think the art galleries of the future look like?
Well, virtual, holographic, projecting images into your home, 3D virtual VR, right? Upload, possibilities of your space, and then have the art consultant plug in the VR so that you can view it your own home in your own, convenient way. Um, Things like that. I mean, I hate to say it because I love being face to face with people, but I'm also a fan of cool technology. And so what I hope, and honestly in my heart of hearts believe, is that we've got to temper how we advance with technology. There are pros and cons to all of it. And I think oftentimes we abandon some of the important things. For example, manners.
Mhm.
Like with digital messaging, instant messaging, or text, you lose a lot of the manners that you would have face to face. I
Yeah.
would never disappear on you in the middle of a conversation
Could
if we
you
were face to
imagine?
face.
Could you imagine?
No, right?
Like,
But
hey,
we
how's
do
it
it all.
going?
So,
Super
you know,
awkward.
go, yeah, right. You're just gone. So I would love to see um, a blend where we're advancing technology, but we anchor back to timeless principles of good manners and good acumen in life and business.
Yeah. Something missing for sure. Not so, let's go into more of a big picture, your whole thing about tribe, you're in the tribe, website, what you were doing before then. How did you start getting into this idea that people are tribal, tribing up with people? Where did this initial interest even come from?
Well, as you know, I think as we all reflect back, it's a lifetime of experiences that add up to an epiphany. However, the turning,
Because yeah, I was gonna say because I feel like people doing innovative shit, I feel like it's always one of two things. Either like they stumble across some idea and they're like, holy shit, and they have some epiphany, or they're really like annoyed by something or something's not working in their life, and then they discover something as a way to like fix something about their life that they hated. So it's like
yeah,
I almost wonder, it's like, did you read some book and discover something, or were you just like a lonely motherfucker and I had no friends and like, oh, I could tribe up and have people in my life? Like I almost feel like it could be one or the other.
yeah, no, you're right. You're very accurate in all that. So the simple answer is a lifetime of experiences, right?
Okay, yep.
The real answer is it was the real estate crash of 2008.
Okay.
Um, so I was a productive, performing real estate agent and investor. I had properties, I had income. I had rentals. I wasn't big, but I'd carry 30, 40, 50 listings at a time.
Okay.
And I would do, in the boom, I was doing, a good 8 to 10 transactions a month. And so I was productive.
Hmm.
And then the market crashed, and I'm the kind of guy, like I'm a pit bull on a pork chop. I won't let go. And so I held on from through the crash to 2012, even though my heart was dramatically disconnected from real estate because it felt so criminal to me. I, I really didn't resonate with the short sales and just the whole, no one to blame. I'm not blaming anybody, but the whole thing became very ugly to me.
Hmm.
And so I was disenchanted. My heart wasn't in it, but I'm also tenacious. So I held on and I lost everything, as a lot of people did. And one day I'm laying in bed reflecting on all of my parents' friends, the people around me in my life, all saying, Brett's so brilliant. He's so smart. He could run any company. He's going to be this, he's going to be that. And you buy all the press clippings throughout your life. And I remember laying in bed. Actually, I had a moment of depression for about 15 minutes in the middle of the day. I went to take a nap and I'm like, screw this, I'm done. And so I laid down in bed and I'm laying there and I thought to myself, if I'm so damn brilliant, how did I end up here?
Hmm.
And it set me down a path to answer that question. And in on that path, I did a lot of study. I dove deep into the studies that Napoleon Hill did, not thinking Think and Grow Rich is like basic compared to what he really did. Think and Grow Rich is a good book, but it's like high school.
He's like a super controversial figure. Have you ever actually read about his life?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's very controversial. But there and so I don't anchor back to him like, hey, here was this great
Oh,
dude.
I just thought it was interesting because
Yeah,
most
it's
people don't
very
know it.
interesting.
They're like, yeah, that guy was a like crazy crackpot in so many ways too.
I know in a lot of ways, but there were maybe 3 to 5 things that I found that really resonated and set me down the tribal path.
What were those things or principles?
Well, I'll tell you the overarching principle was organized effort and energy.
Okay.
Most of what the mastermind is, what collaboration is organized effort and energy. That's what I extracted from his writings. And so the ability to attract and invite people to a group and then organize the effort and energy of those people towards an outcome.
Okay.
And then it was self-discovery from there where I started looking at, okay, what does it look like to attract? What does it look like to invite? What does it look like to engage? What would it look like to manage? And what would it look like to monetize? And because you have to have all those components. And so in that, we were able to uncover the principles that now define tribe for us. And I quite simply define tribe today. And it's different than the last time we talked, Eric, because as John King once said, he said, I see that you continue the question of what is tribe. I'm constantly in the discovery of it. And as of today, it may be different tomorrow, but as of today, it's the people, places, and things that you interact with frequently. That's what I define tribe as.
Interesting.
To cause it to thrive is a whole nother story. Everyone has a tribe, whether they want to or not. It's not something you do or don't do. Right. It just is, right? But there are things you can do to cause that tribe to thrive, and there are things you can do to just let it randomly happen.
So what are some things that you can do to have your tribes thrive that you've discovered?
The first practical thing is have them all in one place. So they're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, they're in your phone, they're in your CRM, they're all over the place. And if I was to come to you and say, Eric, I want to support your tribe, I almost don't like saying it this way because we built the technology to do it. So I don't want it to be a commercial. Yeah. But the truth is, the reason we built the technology was to bring all of your tribe into one place where you can organize the effort and energy.
Oh, like I said before, sometimes people start developing things to solve a problem in their own life.
It was my own life. It was me wanting to, I had to ask the question, if I'm so smart, how'd I get here? Now, what will the solution be to create long-term sustainable success that doesn't crash like I just did?
Yeah.
Right. And in that, I found that I needed to be able to attract and invite my tribe into one place and then organize the effort and energy. Part of that is culture, a big part of that. How organizing effort and energy with a bunch of people going their own way with their own idea, that's not an easy thing to do. So you got to know who you are and how you're going to show up inside that group as a leader. I'm not saying as a leader of the people, because we all lead ourselves, hopefully. I don't have anyone leading me. Certainly, there's room for one leader in this head of mine. Mm-hmm. That's me, or else I relinquish it to someone else. So in this case, I'm leading my tribe, you're leading your tribe. And what I'm hoping to do with mine is infuse a culture of collaboration so it's more efficient and effective and productive for everyone. And that's what to me, that's what I'm focused on when it comes to tribe.
All right. Interesting. And you had started, before starting this website in the tribe, you were doing these events in person for many years and had a lot of success. Can you talk to us about a little bit what you were doing there and the story behind that?
Yeah, I mean, it boils down to, that's a great question, actually, because there are probably 3 or 4 different answers depending on the angle.
Okay.
What was I doing there for me? What was I doing there for other people? What was I doing there for the collective? For me, I wanted to grow my influence.
And what was it called?
The first version was called Local Impact Zone.
So tell us about Local Impact Zone. What had you created? When was this? Walk us through.
So it was 2012. It was in my at that same time when I had that 15 minutes of depression. I also was wide awake on a sleepless night, 3 a.m. And I had a dry cleaning receipt and a pen on my nightstand. And I wrote down on the dry cleaning receipt, in my moment of pain and chaos, in my pain and chaos, I almost missed my defining moment. And right then it clicked. And the next day I got up and I got on LinkedIn. I wasn't even on LinkedIn at the time. And I got on LinkedIn, I created a profile, and then I started doing what I now call today pinging. Now, there's a lot of challenges around this today. Maybe we'll get into, maybe not. But I started pinging, which is I went to everybody I could in the area and hit connect, 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 connect. So long story short, LinkedIn put me in an 11-day LinkedIn jail.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was in lockdown on LinkedIn.
It's not,
I didn't
though,
know.
it's not as, I guess for some people it could be annoying and they want to prevent spam, but I
Right.
think we could both agree it's not as weird as, do you remember on Facebook the poke button?
Yeah. Oh my
Dear
gosh.
God. Like
I
who did
never
that?
understood what that meant.
Well, I think they got rid of, I don't know why they got rid of it, but if I had to assume, the only people that poked people were absolute weirdos.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I ever responded to one of those. But no, yeah, so I'm hitting the legit connect button. And I'm hitting the connect button. I get into LinkedIn jail. And the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is once I got out of jail,
I thought
what
you were
I
going to say the
had,
beautiful thing of LinkedIn jail.
yeah, well, yeah, once I got out of LinkedIn jail, I had all these people that had accepted my request. And on the LinkedIn profiles, there were typically a phone number or an email.
Mm.
And so what I did, Eric, is and this is how the whole thing started and what it's all still about today. I started calling every one of those people, and I would say these words. I would say, "Listen, Eric, as you know, we're both linked here together on LinkedIn, and you and I both know that if we don't get together face to face, or at least have a phone call about who we are and what we're looking for, this isn't going anywhere."
It's
And
true.
the common response I got is, "You're absolutely right."
Right. I'm just thinking, like, if you did that to me and I had no idea who the hell you were, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably true.
Right. So, and I would disclose up front, I would say, "I want you to know right now, of course, I have self interest, as I'm sure you do. But what I'm willing to do is set those aside to get to know you and see if I can add value to you first. I'm sure if I can do that, you'll probably want to know what I'm interested in as well." And people appreciated the transparency and the honesty. And long story short, within 6 months, I hired a full-time assistant. I had no less than 10 meeting requests per day.
Mm-hmm.
She had to set my schedule and make sure that I wasn't screening because this was the president of a bank or this was the Mary Kay lady. I told my assistant, I don't care who it is, I'm going to allow 5 meetings a day at 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And so what I did is I started meeting with people one-on-one every single day. I did that for a total of year, and I never looked for a year, and I never looked for a client again ever.
Holy shit.
You wouldn't need to, but the process was to meet with the person, find out what was important to them,
Right.
and then organize the effort and energy of my newfound tribe to help people get what they wanted.
And can
And
anyone today go on LinkedIn and replicate that?
anyone could if they'd be willing to do the work.
Well, that's the key
Instead, they
word.
like to invest, boatloads of dollars into things that don't work to find out a year later they could already get to the people they wanted to talk to anyway.
What are some common things that you feel like people waste their time with because they don't want to do the work?
Marketing funnels that they're never going to follow through with.
Okay.
It's not that marketing funnels don't work, but you got to listen. If they worked and billions of people are doing it, which funnel do you choose?
Right.
The problem is what sometimes people don't comprehend is if it's a good thing, everyone's doing it. If
Right.
everyone's doing it, it's
Stops
noisy,
working.
cluttered. It stops
Yeah,
working.
exactly.
So if the goal is at the end of the day to take a marketing funnel and get to a conversation with someone, why don't you just skip the funnel and go right to the conversation?
Right. Totally. I love that. I love that. I love that principle of, well, I think there's a few, right? It's doing what other people aren't willing to do. So you have less competition,
Yep.
not taking shortcuts, like and just valuing like the human connection, right? Not trying to take a shortcut around it.
Yeah, that principle that you're mentioning, it's interesting, Eric, because during this whole time, I was also training in martial arts and, I was, in my fitness, but I would wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and get out of bed and do 100 push-ups and go back to sleep. And my thought was no one else was doing that. So I knew that at 2 or 3 in the morning, no one else was doing push-ups. And
Right.
so you're right. It's just being willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And one of the big supporting, pieces of this is what you don't see a lot of people doing is reaching out and doing what you do, which is adding value first,
Right.
giving really genuinely um, in it for the other person, knowing that it will reciprocate.
Totally.
Right.
Did you ever read the book? Did you ever did you ever read the book The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss?
I didn't.
So
I've heard
one of my
different points.
what's yeah, one of my favorite quotes from there, which has become such an MO in my life, is he says the fishing is best where the fewest go, and the collective insecurity of the world makes it easy for people to hit home runs while everyone is aiming for base hits.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
And I took that so to heart, and especially with my investing background, which is always for me to look at places where I have the least competition. It was sort of this extension of principle into to the rest of my life.
Right.
And I see that you kind of do that already.
Oh yeah. And I'm often maybe coined as a contrarian.
Yeah, but I
You
don't
know.
see. I don't coin. I wouldn't coin you as a contrarian.
Okay,
I th-
very good.
so I would say what you do is often different from the crowd,
Yep.
which then happens to make you contrary to what most people are doing, which is different than I'm just going to do different what people are doing, regardless if it works or not.
Right. So no, I'm glad you bring that up because I have a formula, right? I look at the direction everyone else is going. It doesn't mean it's wrong. I
Yeah,
just look at the direction everyone else is going. This funnel, this gadget, that gadget. I look the opposite direction and see if I can find a golden, less cluttered opportunity there.
totally.
And then I go there if I can win there. I have a better chance of winning there than in the flood of what everyone else is doing. And so I like to go that way.
Yeah, it's like right now, and I don't know how timely this is going to be by the time this gets recorded, but in the stock market, there's been all this crazy shit about GameStop the last few days. I don't know if you've heard
I
about
haven't,
this.
but I
It's
believe it.
it's it's been a weird, wacky thing with a short squeeze, and GameStop has gone up by like 1,000%. It's insane.
Wow.
So of course, there's people who are just trying to buy it to ride the momentum. There's people who are trying to short more of it, thinking it'll eventually go down. I think both are kind of stupid because even though I think it's by any measure it's wildly overvalued, it could. What if it goes up another 1,000%? You're wiped out, even though in the long term you were correct. So what I'm
Right.
doing is looking the other way and saying, are there things now available that are not about outright buying the stock or outright shorting the stock that you could do that less people are doing where there might be some weird inefficiency. Now maybe there isn't, maybe there is. I'm not going to say either way what my thoughts are on that, but the that's the place I'm looking from.
Yeah. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, we're very aligned that way. I think that a lot of times people are setting themselves up for failure trying to be something other than what they really are, or they get caught up in whatever fad, whatever trend, whatever widget or gadget or new thing. And I've always liked to, I even go so far, like I define my own words and
Yeah.
people will criticize. They'll say, well, no one understands what that word means. And my philosophy is, I know I'm going to define it
Yeah.
because I want a word all to myself, just like Google was a word that no one knew before it was defined. And now it's the word, right? And
Yep.
so it was a wide open space to define something totally new. I like to take words that or ideas that no one is even thinking of. And the common thought is, well, why don't you use a common word like community? Because I wanted to help redefine tribe, right? Tribe was a lot more open than community or network was. There were already so many preconceived ideas. Even though there were ideas about tribe, they were outdated. I mean, if I say tribe in a normal conversation, what's the first thing people think of? They're not thinking of a modern day organized network of people that are thriving in
They're
an
thinking
ecology and economy.
hunter gatherers.
Right.
Right.
So I get to redefine that and create new meaning for it, still honoring what exists already,
Sure.
but it's it's a place I can own versus one I can't.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about tribe now starting to become kind of a trend in the cultures? I'm sure you've noticed, right? There's a whole sort of, it's now trendy in business to talk about the tribe, the team, all of that.
Yeah. Most of the time it's watered down. It's not as deep as we're going, but not bad, not negative. It's just a lot more profound to me. So what I feel we have to do in the tribe and what we're working towards is creating um, the source documents, basically our source documents of what it means. I'm on Instagram. I got 300,000 people in my tribe. Really? Like, are they really tribe? If it requires any effort outside of scrolling and tapping, is it really tribe?
Yeah.
And the answer is it is one form of tribe. It's not a thriving ecology and economy like we're talking about. We're talking about a real village, an ecology of people, places, and things, and its highest and best function, right? What's the highest and best that village can be? And it takes real effort and energy to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about your In the Tribe project now that it's gone digital. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we needed, Tom, my business partner, and we both needed, based on the way we operate and the tribal mentality and culture, we needed a place where we could, attract and invite and engage all of our contacts in some form of geography, albeit digital geography. It doesn't matter where they're located in the world. Once we go online, there is no physical border, but you do have a perceived geographic border around all of your contacts. Now, typically, like I said, they're scattered in all these platforms. Well, we wanted to be able to empower people to invite and engage their tribe all in one place. Now, in order to do that, you have to intermediate a lot of the things that are already out there, like specific personal interest tribes, or what Facebook might call a group. You got to have search, you got to have a marketplace, you have to have profiles, you've got to have the ability to contact and communicate, all of that in one place. Okay. So those are pretty normal things. We aggregated them all into one location. But what we've done that makes us right now first to market and set apart to a large degree is we have automated the invite link so that you're building your personal tribe. You're not building it for us, you're building it for you. And of course, we get the company benefits of that, right? That's,
Yeah.
we're not saying that we're not a company for profit and we're just a cause. We're a company for profit and we're very cause driven or cause oriented. But you've got the ability to take a link that is automated and tracked and invite your contacts into your tribe. And when you do that, it places them into a what we call a tribe relations manager. It's similar to what someone might call a CRM. But now all of my tribe is in this one page online where I can nurture and engage them systematically and frequently and find ways to add value to them and deepen the relationship. And of course, ultimately, selfishly growing my influence by adding value to them, which is my spendable cash in my tribe, my influence. And so that is all one seamless process from invite to relationship. Where we solve a big problem is when people are doing that outside of our technology. The issue they're having is they won't fill in the data. I met Joe at a bar. We had a great conversation. We agreed to stay in touch. What happens? His business card ends up in a shoebox somewhere.
Yep.
Right? Well, in this case, I would just send Joe right to brettlabit.com. He joins my tribe. And now I got Joe in one place with everyone else in my tribe. And if I want to go introduce Joe to you, because I think you guys are going to connect really well, I can do that within 2 to 3 clicks. Right? And start adding value right away.
So I would imagine one question you probably get a lot, right, is what's the point of sort of adding this extra level where, say, I meet you at a bar and I get your info, and then I just put you into Salesforce.
Yeah.
And then if I want to make an introduction, I shoot over an email. Do you get like, why don't you use a traditional CRM system?
Well, here's the problem. And the CRMs would tell you this. The problem is we don't go put the information into the CRM. Companies are flooded with salespeople, and their biggest frustration with their salespeople and Salesforce or their CRM is that their salespeople don't put the data in. We're gathering that data when I invite Joe from the bar to the tribe and Joe creates his profile. We're pulling the data from his profile, which is public information. Mm-hmm. So we're not invading anyone's privacy. We're pulling that into a contact record and delivering it to you.
Right.
So we've automated.
I get it. I'm just asking because I feel like that'd be a common thing for you to.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we've automated to overcome that obstacle. That's their number one problem. The number one problem of CRMs is the people that are using them don't put the data in. So we automated that so that it's driven by the self-interest of the other person.
Right. Interesting. So what's the future? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that one, as it is fully developed, I think will be, a killer app for us.
And where do you monetize that?
Well, we're unique in the fact that we monetize through subscription. We don't need to advertise. We don't need to, invade anyone's privacy or steal their data or any of that, mm-hmm. which we feel good about right now. I know that's a sore subject, but we have
what does the subscription get you?
So when we have a free membership and then we have a $59 membership. And in the $59 membership, the biggest thing that you get is it converts that table of contacts into a separate contact record where you can actually not only have all of their data populated from their onboarding, but also you can go in and make notes and write in a birthday or spouse's name or child's name and birthday, all of that information so that you can really build out that contact in a profound way.
And that's $59 a month or $59 a year?
It's $59 a month. And then the training that we offer along with that. So we have some pretty extensive training that is built into that as well. So
now, could companies use this, or is it really just for individuals?
We're now getting large influencers that are wanting to use it, companies that are using it, churches are using it. We have members in over 40 countries. And if anything, people feel like our $59 a month is low. So we seem to be on the right side of that.
So let's say you get big. What stops? Let's use Salesforce again, right? So Salesforce is about $30 a month, right? So they're cheaper than you for their basic package. What would stop Salesforce from saying, "Oh, this is interesting. Why don't we just create a link where you can just send someone your Salesforce link and then it just automatically gets updated into your Salesforce CRM?" Solves the problem.
because it doesn't have tribe, it doesn't have tribe culture, and it doesn't have a marketplace. We built it all in one place. They would have to completely change their model.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking you sort of the basic, I feel like the basic
Yeah.
questions. You probably
Yeah.
heard all of these before, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So CRM to CRM, Salesforce is better, just
Right.
flat out.
Yeah.
But you add the whole package, the whole tribe, search. So your Salesforce is not connected to my Salesforce. I
Sure.
can't support people in your tribe because you have Salesforce and I have Salesforce. But in this case, I could. You and I could build a relationship, and now I want to search. I want to find someone in your tribe because when you connect me with them, I'm adding value to you by supporting them,
Right.
right? Salesforce can't do that. In fact, no one can.
So walk me through that. Let's say we're tribed up on on in the tribe, and you want to connect to someone in my network. So what does that process look like?
Yeah, I can go right to your referred tribe, especially on we're about to launch 2.0, and
Mhm.
on 2.0 right on your profile, I can go right to your profile and look down your tribe at the thumbnail, the title and the profession and go, "Oh, I'm going to talk to Joe," and then go look and see what you said about Joe in his testimonials, right?
Okay.
I might even call you and say, "Hey, Eric, I'm thinking about using Joe for whatever. What do you think about him?" One of the things we're building, and I don't like to talk about betting on the come, right? But one of the things that we are building is a thing called a tribal competency score,
Hmm.
where our algorithm is going to measure certain activities and habits discreetly to create a competency score on a profile, a real vetting system. They're so manipulated out there. So, I've got 10 5-star reviews on Google, but who's to say they're not 10 of my family members,
Right.
right? But a discrete vetting system that creates a competency score based on the size of my tribe, my follow-up process, how frequently I communicate, those kinds of things, right? That then comes back and tells you why you might want to do business with me or connect with me. Those are the types of things that we're looking to build into the system.
Very cool. And then do you see growing this organically, or are you going to need outside capital, or how do you see this long term?
We just decided we've been funding it ourselves. We just brought in a small round, and I think we're going to, we're actually right now talking about bringing in about 500K, and it's mainly to fund the remaining development of 2.0 and then marketing.
Okay.
And the truth is, we probably don't need it, but it is going to get us to the finish line faster and create a bit more traction in the marketing faster so that we can make sure we stay ahead. Right now, we feel like we're ahead
Yeah.
conceptually, but we've got to deliver on that promise in the marketplace to hit critical mass. We've held it back. We have members in 40 countries, but truthfully, we've held the platform back because of technology. Now we're looking to make sure it's stabilized and ready. And as we launch 2.0, then we're going to open the floodgates.
Very, very cool. Well, I have lots of people in my tribe who have access to capital and into those kinds of things. So if you ever needed people to help you expand either in the tribe or your art gallery, I'd be happy to see if I can help however I can.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you're one of my go-to guys on that. So have you ever met my partner, Tom?
I spoke to him on the phone once.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, I
He
should
would have
get
been
you.
interesting to have on the show too.
Oh, he's
I
great.
should have had you both on tonight.
Yeah, he's a great guy. You know, 20, 30 more years of wisdom on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Smart dude. Smart guy.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
So
But
yeah, go ahead.
no, I just I think it'd be great to reconnect you with him again.
Yeah, it'd be great. Any time. And if you ever want to come on the show too, I'd love to hear his story and talk more about what he's done in his life. So, I'll ask him. He'd be interested. Maybe the two of you could come
Beautiful.
on too. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great.
all right, awesome. Well, I wish you the best with everything that you're up to. You have a fascinating story. For people that want to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you? 'Cause I'd like to put as many, links to the show notes of anything to help you out as possible. So, this will all be on the show notes, but just for people listening that aren't online right now, what would be the best way to reach you?
Yeah, I would say that the best thing, Brett at brettlabit.com. So the domain name brettlabit.com, BRETTLABIT.com. It's just a simple landing page that people can find on Google and get to me.
Okay.
And then my email, Brett at brettlabit.com. And like I said, Eric, and I know you're the same way and you're masterful at this. I just like to really connect with people. Um, I don't really have anything to pitch. I don't pitch unless a sales opportunity triggers that,
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that pitch that everyone's sick of, the only thing left is to build real connection and find ways to add value to each other. So that's always my MO, as I know it is yours as well.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it was great to connect, and I appreciate you coming on. This was fun. We'll do it again sometime.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the invite.
All right. Take care.
You too.